Have you ever had that feeling? That the patterns in your own life somehow echo the larger movements of the universe? It's this incredible idea that the smallest detail reflects the grandest design. Well, that's the heart of the principle of correspondence, and that's exactly what we're diving into today.
This really powerful line comes from the super mysterious emerald tablet of Hermes Trismegistus. It's the core of that famous saying, as above, so below, and it's basically hinting that our universe is built on a deep, hidden symmetry.
So what does that actually mean for us? Well, the principle suggests there is this constant link, a correspondence, between the laws and what happens on all the different levels of life. The tiny reflects the huge, the microcosm mirrors the macrocosm. It means the human soul can reflect the whole universe, and that nothing, absolutely nothing, exists all by itself.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, that sounds kind of cool, but it's just some abstract philosophy, right? Well, not exactly. If you just look around, you can see this idea reflected everywhere. I mean, literally, in the fabric of the world around us.
A perfect way to visualize this ancient idea actually comes from modern geometry, the fractal. A fractal is just a pattern that keeps repeating itself, no matter the scale. It doesn't matter how far you zoom in or how far you zoom out, you're going to see that same basic design over and over again.
And we see this fractal-like pattern all through nature. Take, for instance, the beautiful spiral of a nautilus shell. It's this intricate pattern, all encoded at a really small biological level.
Okay, hold that spiral shape in your mind for a second. Because when we scale way up, like to the level of our planet's weather, we see that exact same fundamental spiral in the massive, swirling arms of a hurricane. And this is where the sheer scope of this principle just clicks into place. That very same pattern stretches across the entire cosmos in the shape of a spiral galaxy. From a little shell in the ocean to the vastness of space, as below, so above. It's incredible.
And this idea of everything being connected isn't just a Western thing, not by a long shot. We find really similar concepts in Eastern philosophies. For example, Mahayana Buddhism talks about the one in everything, and some Zen sayings point to this bizarre, non-local connection between all things.
So this brings us to a really famous book, one that for many people was their first taste of these ideas. It's called the Kybalion, published way back in 1908, and it kind of packaged the principle of correspondence for a modern audience. So, the Kybalion basically suggested that reality happens on three major levels, or planes: the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. And the key idea is that the same universal laws work across all of them. If you can understand one plane, you've got the key to understanding the others.
And according to this way of thinking, the main difference between, say, a rock, a thought, and an angel isn't what they're made of, it's their rate of vibration. Everything is just energy, you see, but it's all moving at different speeds, different frequencies.
The Kybalion became hugely influential, right? And it claims to be presenting this ancient Hermetic wisdom that's been passed down for ages. But this brings up a really important question for anyone who's trying to study this stuff. Is this book a direct link to the ancient world, a true piece of antiquity? Or is there something else going on here? Okay, so this is the crucial part. Scholars and people who practice this stuff make a very clear distinction between two different traditions. On one hand, you have the Kybalion, written in 1908 by a guy named William Walker Atkinson, and it's really rooted in the New Thought movement of that time. On the other hand, you have classical Hermeticism, which is a collection of ancient texts from Greco-Roman Egypt, like the Corpus Hermeticum. So, while tons of people got into these ideas because of the Kybalion, which is great, its specific list of 7 Hermetic principles doesn't actually show up in the ancient source texts. It kind of borrowed the Hermetic name to give these early 20th century ideas a sense of ancient authority. So let's turn to the real historical source and see what it tells us. Because the core idea of as above, so below has a history that's much older and way more mysterious than any single modern book.
The saying that started it all is a direct paraphrase from the Emerald Tablet. Now, nobody knows for sure where this text came from, but its influence on Western thought is just undeniable.
I mean, the concept of correspondence itself has been flowing through Western philosophy for millennia. You can see it in Plato, the Neoplatonists developed it, it was central to alchemists in the Arab world and the Renaissance, and you can even see echoes of it in the 20th century psychology of Carl Jung. It just keeps showing up.
So what should you take away from all this? I think it's the incredible power of the core idea itself. It's been interpreted and reinterpreted for centuries because it just speaks to this really deep human feeling we have about how reality works.
At the end of the day, whether you find this idea in an ancient scroll, a modern book, or in the spiral of a distant galaxy, its power is the same. It's a lens, a tool for perception, a way of seeing how everything is connected, from the stars way up there to the soul deep within you. It's a piece of wisdom that's just timeless, and it goes beyond any one single text or tradition.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If an idea really helps us see the world more clearly, if it helps us find meaning in all its crazy patterns, then how much does its historical origin really matter? It's a question about the nature of truth itself.